Segment 1. One big beautiful bill passes. Happy July, folks. The fireworks started early this year, not in the sky, but in Congress, where the Senate just passed Donald Trump's legislative juggernaut, the One Big Beautiful Bill, or as Trump calls it, Obamacare, but for billionaires. Yes, this bloated beast squeaked through with a 51-50 vote, and guess who played tiebreaker? None other than Vice President J.D. Vance. The man who wrote Hillbilly Elegy is now casting votes that read like an Ayn Rand novella. The bill is a Frankenstein of conservative dreams and fiscal nightmares. We've got an extension of Trump's 2017 tax cuts. We've got a no tax on tips clause because nothing says robust economic policy like throwing bones at waitstaff while letting billionaires bathe in tax loopholes. There's also a $5 trillion hike in the debt ceiling because when you're running a country like a casino, what's another chip on the pile? And for the cherry on top, a tax break for whaling boat captains. That's right, Lisa Murkowski got her own maritime Hallmark movie subplot. It's like if Moby Dick was about pork barrel politics. They negotiated with more drama than a Bachelor Rose ceremony. All-night votes, backroom meetings, and Trump reportedly promising Rand Paul a libertarian-themed golf cart. Still no word if it runs on gold standard ideology or pure smugness. Segment 2, AI regulation moratorium goes down in flames. In a shocking display of bipartisan cooperation, or as it's known in Washington, a unicorn sighting, the Senate just porched a 10-year moratorium on state AI regulations. The vote, 99-1. That's not legislation, that's a Yelp review of your failed dictatorship. The bill would have forced states to choose, regulate AI or get broadband funding, which is like telling your grandma, choose between your hearing aid or indoor plumbing. Senators from every stripe joined hands to tell the federal government, nah, we actually like not being run over by autonomous lawnmowers. Senator Markey, who apparently sleeps in a Faraday cage, led the charge with Senator Blackburn. Yes, Markey and Blackburn, like a buddy cop movie where the plot is just yelling at ChatGPT. This means your state can now slap a cease and desist on your toaster if it starts singing Taylor Swift. It also means AI oversight will be a glorious mess of 50 unique flavors, like a Baskin-Robbins of litigation. Segment 3. Welcome to Alligator Alcatraz. Grab your mosquito net and say goodbye to due process, because Florida just opened Alligator Alcatraz, the new migrant detention facility deep in the Everglades. This isn't just a prison, it's a psychological thriller. Situated in an abandoned airfield 50 miles west of Miami, surrounded by pythons, swamps, and the ghosts of bad FEMA decisions, it houses 5,000 migrants in converted trailers. Because nothing screams humanitarian policy like locking people in the hottest place on earth with the most carnivorous wildlife. Construction was fast-tracked using Governor DeSantis' emergency powers. Florida basically treated this like a hurricane, but instead of sandbags, they used federal cash and moral apathy. Critics say the location was picked as a deterrent. So if you were hoping America's immigration policy would involve more compassion and fewer venomous snakes, bad news. Also, the 11,000-foot runway is optimized for direct deportation flights, because when you're doing mass expulsions, you need that runway clearance and a catchy nickname for the facility. Environmentalists are furious. Turns out when you build a prison on a nature reserve, Mother Earth files a lawsuit. Also furious, Miami-Dade County, which spent years trying to restore those wetlands. But sure, let's undo that because Trump wanted a photo op with an alligator. Segment 4, Harvard versus the federal government. In the latest episode of Trump versus the Ivory Tower, the administration has formally accused Harvard of tolerating anti-Semitism and threatened to yank all federal funding. Yes, all of it. That's $2.6 billion in research grants already cut, and the rest hanging by a thread. The charge? Harvard allowed a multi-week protest encampment that made Jewish students feel unsafe. The punishment? A bureaucratic death penalty. Trump's administration says Harvard violated Title VI of the Civil Rights Act. And unless the school turns itself into a Cold War surveillance state, they'll lose access to federal funds, including student aid. So get ready for Harvard, the for-profit boot camp edition. Harvard says they strongly disagree. They also say they've taken steps to combat anti-Semitism and anti-Muslim bias. So basically, they held up a sign saying, "We hate hate. Please don't take our funding." This move is part of Trump's broader crusade to crush liberal academia. He previously tried to ban foreign students and revoke Harvard's tax-exempt status. Next up, replacing the Harvard crest with a MAGA logo. Segment 5, Musk versus Trump, Civil War of the Billionaires. Just when you thought billionaires had nothing left to fight about, enter the cage match. Trump versus Musk. Round 57. Elon Musk called Trump's one big beautiful bill a disgusting abomination and dubbed the GOP the Porky Pig Party, which is rich coming from a guy who tweets like a Reddit troll during a sugar crash. Musk's mad because the bill dings green energy tax credits, which affect his fleet of subsidy-surfing Teslas. Also, the $5 trillion debt ceiling hike gives Elon nightmares where he has to pay taxes like the rest of us. He even threatened to start a third party, the America Party, presumably with the slogan, "Now with 80% more ego." Trump responded by hinting the Doge department, yes, a real thing Musk once ran, should investigate SpaceX subsidies. Also, he floated deporting Elon. That's right, from America. The man who launched a car into space may soon be launched from the country. This feud is less about ideology and more about two giant egos in a small ring. But if Musk does start a third party, it could be the biggest shakeup since Ross Perot, except with more memes and a worse haircut. Segment 6. Middle East and cyber threats. In the Middle East, a fragile ceasefire between Israel and Iran is holding, but only because both sides are taking a lunch break. Iran lost 935 people in recent Israeli strikes, and meanwhile, its nuclear facilities are still humming like your neighbor's suspicious basement lab. The G7 wants a return to the negotiating table, but let's be honest, the only thing Iran and Israel are negotiating is who hacks whom first. Speaking of which, U.S. defense companies in Israel are on high alert as Iranian cyber attacks ramp up. And not just military stuff. A hacker group linked to Iran says it's got emails from Trump's top aides. That's not diplomacy, that's fishing with a warhead. Segment 7. North Korea joins the party. North Korea is now openly celebrating troops fighting in Ukraine on Russia's side. Yes, that North Korea, the one that can barely feed its population, but apparently has time to moonlight in foreign wars. Kim Jong-un held a military commemoration, possibly as a way to prepare his people for more troops heading west, because what the world needs is more rogue nuclear states playing Call of Duty Real Life Edition. Meanwhile, Ukraine struck a plant deep inside Russia with a drone, proving once again that if you poke the bear, it might get hit by a toaster with wings. Segment 8. Trump goes global, one sanction at a time. In global whiplash news, Trump lifted most U.S. sanctions on Syria, reinstated them on Cuba, and threatened Japan with tariffs unless they bought more American goods. That's not foreign policy. That's drunk Amazon shopping with executive power. And if you thought these moves might be coordinated with allies, wrong. Trump's approach is less coalition building and more punching the world with a globe in hand. Also, a new report says foreign aid cuts could kill over 14 million people. But sure, let's focus on tax cuts for tip jars instead. Final thoughts? That's it for today's news buffet. A little tax reform, a lot of swamp monsters, and just enough international chaos to remind us that diplomacy is now being done by meme lords and wannabe monarchs. Until next time, stay skeptical, stay informed, and for the love of liberty, never trust a detention center named after an apex predator.